this space alcohol and come with me to the 6th dimension.
They're not here.
Oh, what?
You know, since I started making these videos, I've begun to question how healthy it actually is. I've seen this show a grand total of 19 times now. Lately I've been imagining that all of my thoughts are squeezed inside a cube, and the cube is in a garden, but the garden isn't real, but I'm sure I'm fine. It's no big deal. You know what is a big deal? Someone found the physical car from this episode hidden in a junkyard somewhere. Apparently the cipher hunt wasn't enough for you people. Now Rick and Morty's doing a treasure hunt, and not even dhmis is safe from the 39 Clues knockoffs. The person who discovered the car contacted Becky, one of the creators of the show, and was given a gift. Let's see their fabulous prize! Oh. Well, that kinda sucks. The episode begins like any other, only this time in the opening theme song, Yellow tells us a strange tale of how he had a dream where he sees another one of himself, and then he sees other versions of his friends, and a lumpy thing. He says there were things that he knew and understood at one point, but he doesn't know them anymore. He lost the knowledge. And this is incredibly important for understanding the very last episode of the series. Do you guys remember when Film Theory made this amazing point after watching a 50-second long trailer with very little information?
And Duck kills it without thinking. This drives Yellow Guy away for the rest of the episode to learn about love. In Fly, again, Yellow Guy sees something first, in this case it's the fly, an indicator of the problems in the broader world before Duck swats it down. It's symbolic of leaders failing to recognize the bigger problems that we're facing, instead just swatting down the symptoms and pretending that that's enough.
I want to show you what that trailer footage ended up being used for. And be prepared, the results may shock you.
Ooh, one dead fly.
On the clipboard, we see the name Jason. Who's Jason? That's his name. He's Jason. What, the clipboard? It doesn't have a name, it's a clipboard. Okay, this is very confusing. Change it to my name. Red says he hates the clipboard, and look at the destruction his words inflict. This is the man you fools all adore so much. He's committed hate crimes against clipboards. Red has always seemed like the character most aware that the world around them is strange, and it's strange in a sinister way. So he decides to try and escape. He walks into the next room, only to find that his friends somehow appeared there as well. He expresses a desire to leave. He says there's an empty place in his bones that calls out from somewhere unknown. There's something out there, far from his home, a longing that he's never known. The room starts to shake, heralding the entrance of Thomas the Tank Engine. A record player falls to the ground, and for a moment we can clearly see that they were listening to Mitski's seminal third album, Bury Me at Makeout Creek. Exactly who was listening to this, though, we shall never know. It was definitely Red Guy.
I'm Willy Wonka. I'm a trifle deaf in this ear. Talk a little louder when you speak.
The shape-shifting vehicle not knowing what's going on, yet belligerently shouting a bunch of random nonsense with complete confidence reminds me of a lot of people that I know. Case in point, him hitting Red in the face is hilarious. Anyone notice the reoccurring black hot water drink? At first I thought it was coffee, but now I wonder if it's supposed to be oil. It was offered to Yellow Guy from the vending machine in episode 1. It's the trained teacher's special drink for his condition when he's dizzy, and potentially shows up in the original series as well. They might just all be unconnected, but who am I except the person who jumps to conclusions for your entertainment? You can also see the engine taking pills similar to the ones offered to Duck by the computer in Jobs. The number 19 is significant throughout the whole series, and there's a 19 on this trash can. Now pay attention. Notice during this entire song, they don't actually go anywhere. The few frames that they travel through repeat themselves, and the way it slopes off to the side makes it look like they're trapped on a giant hamster wheel. This teacher reminds me a lot of the teachers in the original YouTube series in that he's completely unhelpful and has no idea what he's talking about at any point. He loses his eyebrows here, and they're back on in the next example. Then later he loses his arm and says it doesn't matter. What the hell is Duck reading? This next part is incredibly interesting and shows me once again how good this show is with foreshadowing later events. It's amazing. They run into themselves at a bus stop, and the bus says there's too many people so they can't get on. They actually see some of their copies Obviously, the person controlling their world is screwing up more and more often, but it's starting to feel like maybe that doesn't even matter. Mulhoven is a city. It's based on the real-world city of London and is revealed later as the destination Red wants to travel to. Roy is in this airplane going the opposite direction. At least I think that's Roy. Another 19 can be spotted on the buoy, and Roy's face is on the pirate flag, and the airport bus says Terminal 196, and the bus turns into a demon vehicle from hell itself and breaks down, and Our characters find themselves back where they began, and notice that the train used to say choo-choo, but now it says Leslie. How interesting. Well, he's dead. Duck is apparently a sociopath now. Duck would have killed Scott Tenorman's parents. I find it very interesting that all of the characters now seem aware of their position. They actively discuss the teachers and even expect their existence. Duck and Yellow talk about having the laugh of their lives, and unfortunately, they are very wrong. The true laugh will come in the last episode. Red suggests they try to drive the car themselves, and Yellow responds,
No, come on, no, no.
I lied before. That was the real laugh of our lives. Yellow implies that he's never considered just them doing things on their own. And here enters one of the major themes explored by this episode.
Independence, responsibility,
And the dangers and stress that come along with thinking for yourself instead of having someone else do your thinking for you. Red wants to be able to learn something and then apply the knowledge. He wants to grow, and he also wants to escape the hell that all three of them have been living in. First, you'll need to pick out a name for your personalized license plate. Anything at all except Deathstroke, where death is missing the A and stroke has the E replaced with a 9, because that's what I'm thinking about getting! The tapes in the car talk about personalizing your license plate, and the car's license plate said Leslie. Therefore, it wouldn't be a huge stretch of the imagination to think maybe Leslie owns the car, or at least did own the car at some point. Surprisingly, Yellow knows exactly how to start the car. We're rapidly learning that there's more to the King in Yellow than meets the eye. They make it out on the open road, and suddenly, the feeling of claustrophobia is lifted, but only for a second, and we quickly realize that the world outside looks empty and almost unfinished, and the uncanny valley effect steps back in. This part of the episode where they start to escape is really cool, and I love it. The map has a symbol, and symbols have made appearances many times already in this episode and throughout the whole series, and I'm going to be honest with you and let you know that I have very little idea how I would even begin to interpret the runes scattered throughout each episode and on the ending book. So, I watched Rem Games videos, and man, those videos changed my life. I won the lottery and found the secret of life from Rem Games videos. This is not a sponsorship, I just think his videos are cool, go watch them. Notice that the music playing when he looks at the map is the same ascending musical pattern that played every time the Carehound was mentioned in Jobs. When I was first watching this, I was thinking that the place they were escaping to would be Clay Hill, but I loved the meta joke about it vanishing from existence. And if you're out of the loop, Clay Hill was the town in the original Wakey Wakey pilot that got scrapped afterwards. It's a fun little reference, and another moment that feels almost directed at the audience. That's another thing that I love about the new season so far, the way the narrative acknowledges our existence as viewers of this show as a piece of media. I also love how passive-aggressive the GPS is as it tries to force them to go home. Oh, you don't want to go home. Why don't you try going to hell? Haha. There's a new torture device and a pile of shit we want to throw you on. Or maybe you could just make a U-turn. Haha. The GPS doesn't stop beating a dead horse, and eventually they just get tossed out a window.
Dead horse!
They don't need teachers anymore. They can fend for themselves. Red has finally found something to live for, something to make him interested in the life that he's living, and we watch as he gets more emotional, and it makes it all the more heartbreaking when we get to the end, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Look how excited I'm getting. And what are you looking at, Duck? I need Time Child to become a running gag. Please, please. Best character in the show. Duck has a poster of his shredder in the customizable area. Yellow apparently brings Roy into the car, but Red knows immediately that this guy's up to no good and tosses him out of the car as well. I don't like my window. When I look at it, it looks back through me. This entire episode is literally just setting up the next one. I would definitely watch a whole series of Grolton and Havris. The Wallace and Gromit references are scarily accurate. This feeling of isolation and the melancholy atmosphere are perfect. Red tells Yellow about his dreams for a new home in a community, and Yellow seems to start imagining it. However, it quickly becomes obvious that these thoughts aren't quite what they seem. Could they be a memory? Okay, so I've seen a lot of people say that this is their favorite episode of the new series. So what I'm about to say might make you a little angry, I have no idea. But, it's just my opinion. This is my least favorite episode of the new series. Don't come for me, okay? I still love the episode. It's just, compared to the rest of this season, this episode felt a little meandering. Only a little tiny bit. But my only point in bringing this up is to try and draw your full attention. Because from this point onward, we are assaulted by insane stuff every 2 seconds, and it's awesome. I wish I lived in a town with Road Street and Nice Street. And is that Lily and Todney being normal in this economy? And is that their mother? I find it rather strange that all of the neighbors are hiding away in this scene, almost as if they know what's about to happen. Duck becoming a family pet is beautiful payback for his earlier comment about how he views Yellow as nothing but a pet. There's a strange voice looming over everything and narrating our protagonist's misadventures. However, as Yellow opens the gift given to him by this character that looks like a reverend or a preacher, the voice starts to change from informative to emotional. I believe the bird Yellow is gifted represents something, although I'm not sure what it is. Perhaps it's the innocence of childhood, the fearlessness of Yellow's potential as something that just learned to fly and still has their whole life ahead of them. Or the soaring heights of unbridled creativity before being told that green is not a creative color. The voice starts to sound a lot like Leslie, and she tells Yellow to be more careful as he runs out into the road after the bird. And then she starts screaming as a car that looks suspiciously like the car the main cast has been driving around in fucking hits Yellow and supposedly kills him. Nice. I really love this line from Red Guy. Grolton always makes his appointment, and no matter what happens, they start the next episode back at home. It again feels as though Red knows that they're in a television show, and they will always start back at the beginning in the next episode regardless of what happens. But no matter how much the wheels turn, the journey always ends up back at home. This scene starts rapidly escalating as Red loses control of the situation. He starts to break down from being in a stressful situation that he can't escape. It starts to help us understand why he's been acting the way that he has the entire show, whether it's disinterest in jobs or his desire to escape and go be with a family that he's never met. He needs to get out of this place. Yellow seems to have drunk all of the car's special drink.
It's definitely not worth it.
Change my mind. I want to go home.
No,
Watch the end of Rotting Off.
no, we're so close.
To what?
We can't go back. I'm not going back into that house.
This is the most emotion Red has shown in the entire series so far. The world around them starts to glitch, and they snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes gravity. Choked, he's so mad, but he won't give up, daddy. The universe these characters have known disintegrates around them, leaving behind an odd post-apocalyptic wasteland of junk, also known as Ohio. The colors of the world are replaced by muted grays, and we are left wondering if the Don't Hug Me I'm Scared universe is somehow attached to our own. Is it possible? How did this happen? Why did this happen? Why did they decide to burn the car? This genuinely confused me. Was this brutality necessary? So many questions and so little time for answers. One thing I want to bring your attention to, though, is that this strange new world may not be the human universe. I say this because behind Red, there's a can of duck from the original Hungry episode. You know, I really enjoy having my nightmares relived every single damn episode of the show. Thank you for putting a reference to episode 5 in everything that you do. I really love that. Thank you. The episode draws to a close after the intense and mysterious third act with a somber and heartbreaking moment as Yellow asks Red where the neighborhood is, and Red tries desperately to put a positive spin on their situation. It's evident now that there are no other people. Red's voice starts to break, and you can hear him start to cry. This could explain why Red has such a shift in attitude in the next episode, not only because of the reset, but because now he knows what's inside the house is far more terrifying and isolated than anything he knew inside the house. what's inside is at least familiar to him and feels safer, and so there's also no point in fighting it anymore. He embraces the repetition instead of fighting against it, and so loses his will to escape. Either that, or the copies of the characters do not share memories and are entirely separate beings, in which case he has lost any of the understanding that he had prior to this event. But if they do lose their memories when they get replaced or reset, why does Yellow remember future events at the beginning of this episode? It's all very strange, and while I'll try to, kind of explain my own opinion of my own understanding of what's going on, there's always way more than meets the eye when it comes to this show. At the very end, we hear Leslie's voice saying some cryptic phrase, and she moves the car back to the toy house, effectively resetting the show for the next episode. Very little is explained, and all we can hope for is that the final episode will make things clear.
Spoiler alert, it doesn't.
And that's it. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is probably my favorite show to come out of 2022. It's an undisputed masterpiece. A show so cool looking, most people don't even look for hidden meaning. But they should! Because it's not just about the pleasures of conformity and the importance of trends, but it's also a personal statement about the band itself. Hey, Paul! Each like on this video will stab another needle into the eye of someone who opened Pandora's box. So if you want more people to discover their pleasure, you know what to do, you sadistic bastards. 800 likes and I'll finish the series. Be sure to tune in next week when I will be giving you my opinion on 50 different horror movies I watched in October. Trust me, it'll be hilarious.